Hi, guys.
Miss Alice.
Hi, guys. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good. Nice to see your faces. Yeah. Here's Davis. Good morning. We have 8 people already. Good to see you all. I'm going to wait 1 more minute. Lots of humans. Here we go. Hi, Hala. Hey, Parsa. Good to see you. Hey, good. Looks like we got all our regular folks. So today, welcome. Got a bunch of stuff to do today. Tomorrow we have a quiz. And then we're moving on to chapter 2 on Monday, and we have 1 week of chapter 2. That'll be amazing to do a chapter in a week. I'm going to be cutting that down to the essentials to move you forward. And then spring break. So what's our purpose for today? I'm going to talk about test taking today and how to get A's. So, which is always, I think, what people are shooting for, but half the people don't think they can do it. And then when they learn how they can do it, and they're why does no one teach this? So that is what I'm going to do. There's Uriel joining us. So today, and I had almost forgotten about it, Miss Jacobs is coming to our class at 8:40 with a very specific reason. And I had forgotten, and she said, hey, I need about 15 minutes, and can I talk to your kids? And I said, yes, I think you can talk to our kids. And guys, just remember that when we have a speaker in class, if you can possibly put your camera on and ask questions, that you can put the questions in the chat, or you can, Miss Jacobs is extremely friendly. You can, find out from her what you need to know. And what she wants to do is, number one, just to talk about Health Careers 1, which is the next level of class, along with Dr. Ram's anatomy course. And it's forecasting season. So how do you forecast into health careers? You don't have to worry about what teacher you're going to get, because there aren't that many of us. So there are 2 Health Careers 1 teachers, and Miss Jacobs teaches all but one section. So she's coming. That's the first part of our class. And then second, we're going to just talk a little bit about lab careers, because we've been talking about cytology, the study of cells. And there are whole careers that involve just working with cells and tissues. And, a lot of times students are like, oh, I don't want to do that. And then a lot of times students are like, no, I love it. So we just want to make sure you have exposure to all the different things. Miss Jacobs does a lot of that in Health Careers 1 as well. And I need to turn off my phone. So then I'm going to talk at the end, after we see that video, I'm going to talk about how to get ready for your test. And then do you guys want to vote right now on Bill Nye? Did any of you watch the video? Yes or no in the chat. I have my own opinions about Bill Nye, which I'm not going to share. So you could vote right now if you want in the chat about whether you like his videos or do not. And remembering that I'm letting you steer on some of these things, because you are my most important part of the class. So Ken likes it. Uriel doesn't care, because Uriel, you're not awake. Is that why you don't care? Or you don't want to steer?
I'm awake, but I don't mind.
Okay, whatever I want to do is fine. Is that what you're telling me?
Yeah.
Okay, there's another person that just said they really like Bill Nye. He is looks like to me like he's had about 3 Red Bulls to drink. Right? That's how he affects me, but he knows a lot. That's what I want to say. If you like him, that's enough for me. Anybody else? We got 6 votes here, some private, some public. And my question is, do you like Bill Nye the Science Guy? Anybody else want to vote? No. Okay. We'll leave that. If you change your mind, you want to vote later. So also, I just want to make sure that all of you know this. I think you probably do, that the Miss Irwin said yesterday in our faculty meeting, we need to hear from students whether they're coming back to class. I think it's April 21st or 2nd, right in there. And on a hybrid schedule, you would come to us a couple of days a week, and then you'd have work at home. So your choices are come and be physically in the health careers classroom 2 days a week, and then 2 days home. So I added the link on so that I believe your parents or you can log in and you can say, here's what I'm planning to do. And the reason they're doing that is obvious. They need to know how many people are coming. They are providing breakfast and lunch every day for students who are on campus for free. And so they want to have enough food, enough in-person teachers, enough classrooms. So if you have not done that, either works to the end of the year, either one works, but we need to know that. Okay. Questions about anything? Okay, we are actually waiting for Miss Jacobs. She should be showing in just a few minutes. Okay. So we could talk just a little bit about what's on our test tomorrow. Everything I've taught, there's some piece of, so let me just review for you what this chapter is supposed to be about. The chapter is supposed to be about homeostasis, which is, you know, really foundational to understanding all science of the human body. It is how our bodies work. It is physiology. So I taught the parts and pieces of the cell. I taught the function of the organelles, so the function of ribosomes, just very briefly, what does your nucleus do? And then I talked about somebody with melanoma and what cancer is. So here's the cool part, and here's how I know you'll make good science students. From several students, I got emails that said, Miss Ellis, I was reviewing and I started to read on cancer, and now I'm so confused because I don't know what all of the vocabulary means. Metastases, benign, what is cancer really? And so here's what I want to say about studying for tests in general. State of the material, this is in health careers, state of the material that we have covered in class. And when you start Googling, sometimes it's helpful and sometimes it's more confusing. So what do you need to know about cancer? You need to know that cancer is cells that forgot how many times they're supposed to replicate. So, and by forgot, I mean the brain of the cell is no longer in control. The nucleus is no longer in control of the number of replications. So, for instance, your blood cells, your red cells that carry oxygen, they last in your body about 59 days. One cell will live for 59 days, and then it's replaced by another mature red cell. If that red cell lives to be 180 days, half a year, the patient has a blood cancer because their blood becomes so thick with so many red cells that it cannot conduct oxygen anymore. So uncontrolled growth of cells is cancer. So then I gave one example of a reflex, which is in your book, which is when you touch something hot and you have a sensory, okay, let me answer this question on cancer. Yeah, Kenneth is asking, is leukemia also an example of a blood cancer? Yes, it's just the overgrowth of a different cell. So leuko means white cells, so your immune cells. So it is an overgrowth of sick immune cells, and it is a blood cancer. Okay, cool. So I also gave an example of sensory reflex where I touched something hot and oh, this is Miss Jacobs is trying to get in my room. Hold on. The internet's been really funky. Okay, she got it. Here she is. We'll stop now and we'll admit Miss Jacobs. So put your cameras on so she can see that we have humans in class. Where are you, Miss Jacobs? There she is. Can't hear you.
Here, I'm here.
You
Hi,
guys, so I'm just gonna hook up my chat line and I'm going to, I think you're already a co-host. I'll make you one. So Kenneth says, good morning, Miss Jacobs.
I see that. Good
Okay, good.
morning.
Thank you.
Morning. I
Good
will
morning.
stop my screen share too, so we can see you.
Yeah, and I want to see everyone else. Well,
I don't
whoever's
know.
gonna
I
let me
know how
see.
many of my people, there's Yatsen and Uriel and Kenneth and who
Morning.
else? These guys are all mentally present because they talk during class,
I was gonna say, I'm so jealous.
but they're shy about I
That's
guess,
okay.
about showing their pictures. But I told them, Miss Jacobs, that you were going to talk a little bit about Health Careers 1.
Yeah.
Just as a class after this
Mhm.
one, and then talk about what to do in forecasting.
Yeah, I'm trying to find my mouse on my computer. You know what? Raise your hand. Has anybody ever had computer problems?
They have. I have.
My anyways, my work computer died, so I'm on my home computer and I'm just figuring things out. You know how you have a setup and you want things to work a certain way. Doesn't always work a certain way.
Right.
So yeah, I'm gonna charge my mouse here for a minute and see if because I'm hoping to share my screen, and something that's really nice to be able to look at is the Health Careers website. And the Health Careers website, it's so bizarre. It just has our pathway and explains a little bit. I'm not able to use my mouse, so I can't get to it right now. So let me just talk
Okay.
about it. Okay, so I've been with Health Careers for some time now, a bit of time. So I think this is my 18th year-ish, 18th, 19th. I've lost track. I can never remember. It was in 2000, maybe my 18th year, because I was in 2003. Crazy how time flies. So y'all were just babies, if that.
A lot of them weren't yet.
Yeah. Well, Health Careers is a lot of fun. One, I like to have fun every day. I think you have to laugh every day. It's what gets me, it's what's got me through this whole year, I tell you that much. But in Health Careers 1, we are doing a lot of exploration of a variety of different careers. We'll have guest speakers that will come in. We'll build on what you guys are already learning with medical terminology. And my medical terminology lessons will coincide with what you're doing in anatomy with Dr. Romanek. And so it's reinforced with Dr. Romnick's class and reinforced in my class. And it just builds, and it's so helpful. And what you guys are doing now is so helpful, because you're going to go into anatomy and you're going to come into my class next year, hopefully, right? And you're already going to know some of the terms. And you're like, all right, I can do this. I can do this. More so than any of the other students that are going to be in there, because they haven't had any medical terminology prior. So that's a big plus. And then we're going to be exploring different parts of healthcare, confidentiality, medical ethics. We get into public health. You are one of the few classes, last year's class, this year's class, and now your class has been bombarded with public health. Never before did we see this big of an impact of public health. And so that's something that we talk about and explore. And we even talk about it as a career path, if that's something that people want to do. What else? Everybody will become CPR certified, and that's through the American Heart. How many of you have taken like a babysitting class before?
Anybody?
Anyone? Not many people do. What's that, Kenneth?
Not me.
Yeah, you did?
No.
No, not you. Okay. Yeah, that's okay. Not that many people do. It's just sometimes it's a little introduction, but we go through what we call is the health careers gauntlet of emergency medicine. And it's just great stuff to know. If you just day to day, to be able to take care of people, if an emergency happens. I think that's one of the most important things, is knowing what to do and deciding to act to help someone, because that gap in care can really make a difference in someone's survivability, and not being afraid. And well, it's okay to be afraid, but it's also great to be empowered to be able to do something to
So,
help
Ms.
someone.
Jacobs, one of the things I've talked about in class is that there's nothing we teach in health careers that isn't useful to you later. So,
Absolutely.
from medical terminology, but what these guys probably don't know is that we had a student, is it 2 years ago?
Yeah,
3 years
2018.
ago, that essentially saved his teammate's life on a was it lacrosse?
Yeah, Westview Lacrosse. He I actually have the person that was saved, his sister's in my class now
Yeah, so
at Westview.
so our student who had his life support training with Miss Jacobs, we should show the video sometime.
Yeah.
But he thought that his friend was horsing around, like kidding around, and like couldn't get up, and his heart had stopped. He got hit in the chest with a lacrosse ball, which is very hard. And our student was like, no, he's not kidding, and called 911 and then gave him CPR.
Yeah. And, he kept waking, the patient kept waking up during it. And then, so he'd stop CPR and then he would go unconscious again. And so then he just says, I just kept going and going and going until someone else took over. And the trainer came with an AED. Then police came, and then paramedics were there, and then they took over. And then that's when our student stepped back and stopped providing care. And he's like, and that's when I lost it. That's when I started crying.
Yeah.
But he was right there and in it. And so that's what we really want students to be able to do, is that in an emergency, like, hey, I know what's happening there, and I'm going to come in and I'm going to help. And that is what saved that kid's life. The survivability of that, I think, is maybe 25%.
Right.
And
I
he's
think
doing
one
great.
of the cool things about being in Health Careers One also is that our students then become a person that other people ask questions of. Do you know? And
Hey, you're in health careers, you should know this.
Like, what is this? And you're like, you don't know, you're not a doctor yet, but you know enough to know, oh, you should see somebody. And I think that is really cool in a family setting, when you're a person that other people know you're pursuing healthcare and that you're interested in people's health and that you want to be helpful to them. So I just love that about the program in general, but Health Careers One, especially because you get really practical training.
Yeah, it's great. And some students after my class decide not to continue with advanced health careers or nurse assisting because they got enough of what they wanted to know. That's great too. But then others come in and go like, wow, I'm really interested in this, more so than I thought I was. And then that sort of fuels the fire of looking into more stuff like, hey, I want to go into nurse assistant to be able to be licensed to do something after high school and then get a job. Like, that's an amazing thing to be able to do in high school, or do any of the other licensure certification things in advanced health careers. So in how our program works, it's sort of like a stepping stone that there's more and more opportunity as you progress, but you also become more empowered. You learn a lot more. You become much more confident. Many people that come into my class have never really volunteered before.
Mhm.
And so, in a typical year, we would go do all the vision screenings at the elementary school. So if you had your vision screened by one of those little camera things, it was probably a health career student that did it at your elementary school, along with the Lions Foundation group. So there's a lot of outreach and volunteerism that our students do as well throughout the year. We run the blood drives at Beaverton. And so it's,
Could you also just talk about the advantage of being bilingual in Health Careers One?
oh, I can't say enough about it. I cannot say enough about it. It's not a necessity, but it's a huge advantage. We've had students that have gone EMT ride-alongs and the paramedics didn't speak, Korean or Spanish or one was Russian.
Arabic too.
Just some outline things that, not all healthcare providers know or have a second language. And so in an emergency situation like that, the student was able to translate a few things and they're like, that was so cool. That was so cool to be able to use, because there's a lot, I think there's sometimes the idea that, and I hope that we're getting away from that being bilingual isn't good. It's so beneficial. So many students have like, oh yeah, I don't want to talk about it. Yes, I'm bilingual, but I don't want to talk about it. But that's a huge advantage.
The boss wants to talk about it.
Yeah, it's a huge advantage. There's some places that we volunteer that we're like, we really just need like Spanish speakers to come to our school because that will help us a lot.
Yeah.
And so that's a huge advantage. I hope that everyone keeps with a language. That's something I have a regret of, that I did not keep up with Spanish. Miss Ellis, I'm sure when we have, if she has more time, some other time, can talk about how we took a Spanish class together. It was somewhat comical. She knows a lot more. She knows a lot. So,
Can you lose this question?
Yeah. So I hear if you want to enter health careers, you need to go through a lottery. Yes. So how forecasting works, the district changed our forecasting process this year. And so it's a bit different. All you have to do is forecast for for Health Careers One, and then anatomy. Okay.
And what if you're a junior? So, I mean, our students have already asked me that, but I'm a junior. Can I be in Health Careers One?
Absolutely. I have seniors in Health Careers One every year. Absolutely. The thing is, if you are going to be a senior next year, why not just try to get as much as you can before you graduate? I want seniors in my class because I know that last year is it for you. And so let's get you some stuff before you move on. Okay. And leave high school. Let's get you a couple certifications to put on your resume. Let's beef up that resume a little bit. Okay. So yeah, I want you to be in my class. So how the district, from my understanding, what the district is going to do, everyone who forecasts for Health Careers One will be put into a lottery. And then they will pull 200 students from that lottery. And then those are the students that are going to be in health careers. And so once that lottery is pulled, then we'll know a lot more. And I think we'll know a lot more answers a little bit prior to the lottery being pulled, how they're going to do the lottery. I don't really know, but I just know that everyone who forecasts will be put into that lottery. And then we have 200 spots. And then once you finish Health Careers One, then there is advanced health careers or nurse assisting for seniors.
So in advanced health careers, guys, there is, so the first semester of advanced health careers, which is the year after Health Careers One, there is a semester of preparation. And then there are lots of options, and you can read about those on our webpage. But as Ms. Jacobs just mentioned, you can become a nurse assistant and get licensed. in the program. I think last year, all of our nurse assistants were hired
Yep.
before they graduated. They were hired by a care facility before they were graduated. Then we also train pharmacy technicians, EKG technicians. This is all inside high school and all done before you graduate. So for those of you that are sophomores, you can go all the way through 3 levels. For those of you that are juniors, you have the opportunity to have Dr. Romanek for anatomy, which is an enormous boost. And then get these certifications that you would have to pay for outside of our building.
Yep.
Really
That's the other thing I keep forgetting, but the district is paying for all the fees that I normally would ask students to pay for my class. There's no fees for Health Careers 1 or Advanced Health Careers because the district is covering that cost. What am I, from the East Coast? So another question. Okay, so if you don't get into Health Careers 1, if you want to go into healthcare, I would say take anatomy. I would say take anatomy just because it's going to be a good introduction for you. So when you go to college, you're going to have to take anatomy. And it's, many of our students that have gone off to college and they took anatomy, the first quarter, they're like, okay, this is all a review. I don't feel as worried. And then it got harder through college, each quarter of anatomy, but that's okay. They were able to have a good standing and they weren't blown over right away. So having that anatomy is a good introduction.
And then Ms. Jacobson, I don't know the answer to this question and maybe you don't either quite yet, but will there, so they draw the lottery and then will there be a waiting list for students that are like, oh, I changed my mind. I'm not going to do Health Careers 1 and this is like September of next year. I
hope so, or I hope that they will, or I hope that maybe we will have control over who we can pull in. That's a big question mark. I don't know that answer yet. And I don't know that the district knows that answer yet. I think they're working on that. Since forecasting is just starting, they have a little bit of time before they figure that out.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
I know. I just work here. I don't know all the answers.
That's what we always say. Students always think the teachers are the first to know or that we make the decisions. We are teaching.
We wish we could.
Every day we come and you're like, I'm teaching today, but a lot of the admin stuff is done away from us. And then we find out a little before you do. So what we want to say is we're on your side. If you want to progress forward in the program. And then I want to say, we have a couple seniors in this class too. And what I want to say is amazing to get an opportunity to put your toes in. And we also have something for you at the end of the year for those that complete this intro class. So we're always happy to have our seniors. So, okay, guys, any other questions? It can be anything. So Ms. Jacobs is very much like me in the sense that you can just ask anything you want.
Yeah.
Or something you're concerned about, or something you're wondering if they teach. So feel free, if you can ask it now, you can put it in the chat.
Yeah, even if there's something you want to make sure that we go over, I always like to change it up. Give me some ideas.
Yeah.
Nothing.
Or you can always email me too, and I'll either get the information from Miss Jacobs or
I hope we get all of you.
That'd be great.
I hope that works. Let's put those good vibes out there.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you, Miss Jacobs.
All right. Thanks, everyone. Let us know if you have other questions. You had great ones today. Oh, I don't know how to get out.
You don't know how to leave.
Bye, Miss Jacob.
Kenna says bye.
And
Bye-bye.
Lou says thank you. Yatsen, thank you guys for being polite. That's awesome.
Andy, can you just kick me out?
Where should I put you? I don't know how to kick you out, Paula.
Click on the 3 dots next to my name.
Yeah. It is. I don't have an option for removing you. Hate to say it.
Oh, my mouse came back. Amen. Can I share one more thing then?
Yes.
Okay, I'm going to share my screen. My gosh.
I don't have an option for getting rid of you.
There we go. Okay. So this is our website. This is the last thing I'm going to say. This is, I'll go ahead and put it, or maybe Miss Ellis can put the website in the chat. It's just www.bsdhealthcareers.com. That's it. bsdhealthcareers.com. And it has some great program information. You could see what our lab looks like. You probably passed our rooms. You're like, what the heck are those bodies doing in the bed? And then, you know, these are some what people say.
I showed that video of Mr. Bea talking at the very beginning of the year.
Oh, good. And so this outlines a little bit of what I was talking about, what we do. We have field trips, ride-alongs. You get some college credit. You earn your first aid and your BLS card. BLS is just basic life support. And then all of our volunteer stuff. These are old pictures of how we used to do vision screenings. Now there's just a beautiful like space looking Polaroid camera that's used. Blood drives. That's the CPR assessment day. That doesn't pertain to you. And then here are the anatomy. There's the back of Dr. Romanek and some of the labs that they do. All right. But this is also the pathway. I don't know if Miss Ellis, did you show
I have
this?
not, did I show this? I don't think I did.
So this is where you guys are right here. So then you take Health Careers 1 and Anatomy. There's a couple clubs that you can join with us for further opportunity. And then after my class, then you, as long as you have a C or better, you can move on to Advanced Health Careers or Nurse Assistant. And then in Advanced Health Careers, you have these options here: EKG Tech, Pharmacy, or EMR. EMR training is great for people who want to do like fire, paramedic type careers. So there's a lot of opportunity to be had. It can be a little scary, I think, doing something new, but you know, most times when students, after they do something like, that was pretty awesome, and I'm glad I did it. Rarely have I ever had students that have had regrets. And then you could, oh, here's the video of,
Oh, you should show it. Well, can you play it for us?
yeah,
How
so
long is it?
it's like 7 minutes.
Let's watch it.
Okay. Is that coming through all right?
It will. Yeah. No sound.
No sound. Okay. Just a second.
Our attackman decided to take a shot.
My friend like cranked up and he
Can you
like
hear it now?
shot and the ball hit me right in the chest.
What I'm guessing
Yeah, I
happened is
can
that
hear.
the ball slipped underneath his padding and hit him directly on the body.
At first I thought I was fine because I didn't feel anything.
Colby just started holding his chest, and we kind of thought he was kind of joking, because that's what everybody does when they get hit. They just kind of sit there, but then he just falls and just face first on the ground, and everybody thought he was joking still.
And then my teammate Grant noticed that he wasn't getting back up.
Flipped him over, and then I saw his eyes in the back of his head, and he was just like kind of gasping for air. So I just sprinted over to my bags, grabbed my phone, and called 911.
I performed a primary assessment on him, which was checking his pulse, checking his respirations, and checking his level of consciousness. He was not responsive. He was still breathing and giving me like choking gasps.
Just me passing out and falling and hitting the ground like replayed in my mind a lot. And then I just heard voices in my head.
But the choking sounds eventually became agonal breaths, which told me that he was having a heart attack or there was something wrong with the heart. So I immediately lifted up his pads and started doing CPR.
I ran back over while talking to the dispatcher, and Ben Wu was starting the chest compressions.
That went on for like about maybe a minute before he came back. And when he came back, I reassessed the situation. And as I was reassessing, he lost consciousness again, which told me that his heart had stopped.
After that, I don't remember anything. I just saw like a white light.
So I did compression-only CPR continuously, whether or not he came back to consciousness, which he did several times.
One of our assistant coaches ran over to the baseball game, and Tina ran with him back.
One of the coaches ran over with an AED, and I was beginning to put the pads onto him when the police officers arrived, and then they took over care from me.
Everybody on the team was just helping. Nobody was freaking out. Everybody was under control.
They gave him a lot of epinephrine and shocked him. I'm not sure how many times, but I know it was at least once.
Well, I think the first person I saw was my mom, and she was like, she told me what happened and that how I got hit in the chest and like my heart stopped and I died right there. And then she told me how like Ben Wu gave me CPR.
This was like my first time using the full extent of what I knew to try and save someone.
So there's like this certain part in the heartbeat where like I got hit. So like it was a certain cycle in my heartbeat, I got hit and it just stopped my heart.
In health careers, we have this thing called a bubble, a professional bubble, which is what you see on the outside can't affect you on the inside, or else it'll compromise you as a caregiver. I think like going on clinical rotations and seeing people like in different levels of trauma in the hospital helped me like build up my bubble so that when my friend Colby like collapsed on the field, I didn't freak out and I was able to keep my cool and just like provide care efficiently. But once the officers took over, like my bubble just broke and I cried and my hands were shaking.
Thanks for saving my life, Ben Wu.
Isn't that
Great.
amazing?
I'm so glad they got to see that. And so guys, here's what I want to say, and here's what I want to say about Ben Wu is he's just a student, just like you all.
He was the goofiest kid I ever
He was
had. When
just a
he just walked in the
goofball.
door.
And our thing was like those skills stuck
Mhm.
so that at the moment that something happened, he was able to just pull that out of his pocket and be like, well, I guess I'll do what Miss Jacobs trained me to do.
Yeah, because
So-
if you've ever taken a CPR class before, they're really short. And I remember I worked at a daycare when I was about your age through high school and into college. And I would just like take the class, check the box, I'm done. But I'm like, I'm calling 911. That's all I remember. And so once I came to health careers, and this is part of what I was teaching, I'm like, no. We're teaching this so it is ingrained. And so people don't be as fearful to respond. And the most powerful feeling is knowing that you can do something to help someone. And that I've been in that situation when I was much younger of not knowing what to do. And I hated that feeling. And I don't want anybody else to feel like that. I want you guys to be able to at least figure out what would be the right thing to do and to be able to help someone. So
I think the cool thing about that video too is that it underscores what a career in healthcare can provide, which is it doesn't matter whether you work in the lab or you're a radiology tech or you become a physician or you work in pediatrics. The ownership of skills is such a cool part of being in healthcare. You have real skills that you can use. So does
Mhm.
anybody else have questions? We probably need to let Miss Jacobs go. You have another class to teach. Does
yeah.
anybody have another question? Have you and I figured out how to get you out of our class?
Yes, my mouse is working now. So who
Yeah,
who
I don't
knows
have the
what
option.
that was about.
Okay,
So, all right. Thank you. Take care, everyone. Hope to see you soon.
bye.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Have a good day.
Okay, questions? And guys, do you have questions for me about that? About Health Careers One now? No questions from Kenneth. Anybody else? Yeah, I do too. I really like health careers, and I was working in a trauma hospital as a nurse educator. Here's how I got into health careers. So I I was working in a trauma hospital as a nurse educator, so I was teaching nurses. And one of my friends taught in health careers, and she said, I'm going to have surgery. Will you come teach for me? And take a leave from the hospital. I talked to my boss. She was like, sure. Yeah. How long? 6 weeks. I came over to Beaverton and took her classes. And there was something about it. Here's what it was. I went, wow, this is like not just advertising. This is really helping students move forward. And she came back and I went back to the trauma hospital for 2 years. And then 2 years later, she retired, and the school district called me and said, would you like to teach? And for the next, I don't know, 8 years, I worked at the hospital and teaching at the same time. I was very busy. So I worked at night at the hospital on call, and during the day I taught school. So questions are always, always, always welcome, guys. So it's already 9:15, and I think I'm going to save our lab video for tomorrow because I want to have a few minutes to talk to you about taking quizzes. So let me just say this. I've said it before, but repetition is excellent because sometimes some of you are like getting something to eat or on Facebook or doing whatever you do during class. Uriel, I wasn't looking at you. Stop smiling. So what's the most important thing?
It does make me smiley today.
I see. Oh, it's good. What's the most important thing to study in a science class? You want to do well on tests. So this is all strategy, people. So test taking is a strategy. Focus on the topics we taught in class. Absolutely. Love it. Vocabulary, Lupe. Lupe was listening. That kind of makes my day. Vocabulary. You're going to hear Dr. Romanek talk about this, that if you understand the vocabulary that we've used, you're going to get an A. Because it helps you read the question correctly. It helps you know what the question is asking. So I would review always the medical terms taught during a unit. I would review the vocabulary that showed up on Miss Ellis's whiteboard on the left-hand side. I do this when I teach all the senior courses too. I always have a vocabulary list and it's always changing. Yes, I know, Lupe. And so Lupe is taking Dr. Romanek's class simultaneously. And Dr. Romanek, that he'll tell everyone, that's how I got through medical school. Vocabulary, vocabulary, vocabulary. Because it helps, it's like a puzzle that you may not think you see the picture yet, like a jigsaw puzzle, but you keep putting the pieces on and pretty soon you're like, oh my gosh, I get it. So the vocabulary is so important. Focus 90% of your attention on what teachers taught in class. So those of you that emailed me and you've been Googling and you're interested in what we're learning about cells, if I haven't taught it in class, I'm probably not testing on it, especially at this level. So sometimes students will do the reading, which I love, and then they'll pick something out of the reading that I haven't taught and worry about it. In this class, I am teaching out of what I've taught. So let me just put my camera on, my whiteboard camera. You can put your questions in the chat if you have them. Uh-oh. Okay. Now you can see that, right? So I just left my vocab list up. Number one, I already said this, vocabulary, any medical term, okay, like that we've used, ology, we learned, epi. So there's a bunch of things we learned on our list. Those are important to know. And then emphasize and remember I said at the beginning, and if you haven't done it yet, it's not the end of the known world. But I have asked you to keep a vocabulary list of your own. That's why. That's what I test off of. That's what everybody in health careers tests off of, are their vocabulary lists. So if you haven't done it up to now, start today and keep your own list of words. And if you don't know what they all are, here's what I want to say. You're normal. You're a normal person. Because, you know, every once in a while, 1% of the population, I'll get a student that already knows them or memorizes them instantly. So just know that learning these came directly out of your reading. And here's the other thing, at the end of this review, I'm going to give you an opportunity to ask for what you want. Do you want me to reteach something you don't remember, you don't get it, or you were in the bathroom or helping your mother or doing something else while I was teaching? I can reteach it. Like I can reteach it. So medical terms, chapter reviews, the end of chapter review that's due today, the second best way to review for a test, especially in this class, vocabulary and the chapter review. Why? The chapter reviews are where I get my learning targets. So when I get ready to teach something new, like I have a new textbook, I look, oh, what are they testing on at the end? So I think I'm gonna make really sure that I cover those things. What did we cover? Cells, the basics. One simple reflex arc, a discussion of homeostasis, and what is a hormone. That's it. Okay. So I wrote those on here. A really good thing to do too is if I'm going too fast, because I'm going to probably erase this, is just screenshot these pages. And then you can come back later and go, I know, I don't really know what this is, or I just need to know. I don't know why she has slower written there and fast written there. Okay. So right now it's 20 after 9. This is your moment to ask me questions in the chat about something on the test that you might be foggy on or confused about. Remember, guys, that is the role of the student, is to know what they do not know and what they know, and to ask questions about what they do not know. Yeah, screenshots are awesome. And that is really one of the advantages of having a Chromebook in front of you right now, is you can screenshot it. So if there are no questions, are there questions? Let me just answer this one. Is there going to be a drawing on the parts of a reflex? No, there are not going to be drawings on my tests, because here's why. The ones that come out of your books are copyrighted, and I'm not allowed to put them on a permanent document. I can draw pictures of them on my whiteboard, but no, there will be no drawing. There will be questions about a reflex, but there will not be a drawing. And normally, guys, you are kind of like what I call like, I'm softer on you than I am on other people, because I'm introducing you to this subject. So there's never a trick question on mine. They're very straightforward questions. Just know that. And I think the other most important test taking skill is to take your time to do something today that is relaxing the day before a test. And usually I don't mean watching TV. That actually inflames your brain. What's really good is get outside. Okay, play soccer. Go, like, be physical, ride a bicycle, take a walk, be outdoors. That's the best chemistry to get ready to take an exam. And that allows that part of your brain that has been intaking all of Miss Ellis talking endlessly for 2 weeks. Okay, other questions about anything on the board? Remembering that review is due today. We take a test tomorrow. That's the end of the unit. And is there going to be homework over the weekend? I can't remember now. I'd have to look at the module, maybe a little bit. All righty, I'm going to let you go. If you want to stay and ask me a question, if you are falling behind and you haven't turned things in, come talk to me so I can help you get credit for the class. This is a 1 semester class. it is a full year credit. Wild. So never done that before either, but I really want to help students that are lagging and help, what should you do first? That's sometimes just the struggle, is what to do first. So, okay. Bye.
Bye.
And thank you, those of you that turned your camera on for Miss Jacobs. She loves that. She will remember it. So appreciate that.
Bye. Have a good day.
Hey, bye, Ariel.
See you tomorrow.
Yep. Bye, Yodson. Bye, Luz. Bye, Jeff Fat. Bye, Yusilis. Hey, Davis, I graded your paper. Bye, Cindy. See you later. Bye. Bye, Jeff Fat. Are you there?